Okay, guys, so I'm a macro investor and I do a lot of these macro updates in my Discord, but I've not had the time to do one on YouTube. You might remember if you've been following my videos, I used to do them quite often. I've not had time to do one in a while, so we're going to do one today. We're going to get into a lot of the macro, the USA debt, what's going on with Elon Musk, looking at the sort of bigger picture, because this is how I like to invest. I like to look at the bigger picture, what's going on with inflation, CPI, what's going on with jobs, and the macro, and try and figure out when is going to be the best time for me to deploy my capital into the market. Is it a good time to buy more now? Is it a good time to be sitting in cash, etc.? And I feel like zooming out and looking at the bigger picture is going to help us obviously make those decisions. So I do these updates in my Discord regularly. If you want to join, obviously the link is on my Twitter. Go to my Twitter so you can go and see all of this that we do inside the Discord. Obviously there's buy and sell alerts, my portfolio. We've got a professional leverage trader in there who's giving leverage, longs and shorts, etc. So yeah, head over there if you want to join. But let's get into it. So lots to talk about. So first of all, it took the US roughly 220 years, as a post from a bar chart here, to rack up 12 trillion in debt. And it took only 4 more years to add another 12 trillion, 2 centuries of debt in just 4 years, unsustainable. And here we can see the US debt chart is just literally rocketing to the moon, so to speak. And yeah, it's not good, guys. It's really getting unsustainable. It's really growing out of control. And this is going to come with consequences, and I think this is what triggered a lot of Elon's issues. I'm sure there was other issues with regards to the financing for the EVs, but Elon has been kicking off about it, saying, look, if we don't get out of this insane spending, we are going to be in a real tough situation. So I think it's important that we look at this and we try and understand, is there a solution to this debt? Are they just going to keep printing money? Are they going to stop spending? Are they going to cut spending? Because what if this debt becomes unsustainable? And there is some things we can see happening on the bigger picture, with people losing faith in the dollar and people losing faith in US stocks, which we're going to talk about. So yeah, it's not looking good in terms of the debt, and they do need to resolve that. They do need to work on a plan to fix it. Otherwise, you're just putting a band-aid on something that could be, catastrophic, right? It could lead us into a financial meltdown. The yields are still going crazy. So the 10-year yield is just pushing up and up and up. The system actually is looking like gold is mooning, gold is pushing to all-time highs. The system is kind of screaming that there's something broken, and everyone is kind of saying everything's fine, everything's good, keep buying, don't worry, don't panic. But the system, the underlying system, is kind of saying, hey, something's wrong here. A lot of people are in debt. Gold is rocketing. Yields are at crazy rates. The data has been relatively good, and I think that's one of the problems we have right now. That the earnings have been okay or good. Some of the jobs data has been okay. We haven't really had that bad economic data come out yet, that a lot of people are waiting for. And like the Fed said, it's probably going to be a few months before we see that bad data coming from tariffs. So I'm not crazy about buying here when we're expecting really bad data to come out in the next few months. There's nothing wrong for me personally. I know it's hard, guys. I know it's hard to sit and wait and just wait for like Powell says, just wait for the data. But yeah, it's a tough time for me personally to be like, I'm going to buy here. I've already done some trades and I've made some money and I've taken some profits off the table. I'm just going to personally trade until I feel like we're back at a position of strength. And I don't feel like we're at a position of strength right now. So someone posted here, I think it's called Philic1, posted 2021 versus 2025, history repeating itself. So very interesting. The chart from 2021 looks very similar. This was the top last cycle. We came up, we formed this M pattern, we had a rejection and we came down, right? This is something we've been talking about on the channel, I think since January or February. We were talking about this being a potential top for the market. And so far, we still haven't broken out of this trend, right? We're still around this range that could potentially be the top or the local top for Bitcoin, right? So yeah, there's a lot of talk. The downside to this is so many people are looking at this level now, and what happens when so many people are looking at a specific level is two things end up happening. either it gets front run, so it never really reaches the resistance level. I don't think this resistance level actually lines up. I'll show you where I'm actually looking at. I'm actually looking at this resistance level here. So around 115, 114k. Why? Because it was the top of the market here. It was the top of the market here. And this is the M pattern that people have been drawing. You see the M pattern here, M pattern. Look at the yellow as well. Look at the yellow candle signaling the start of a downtrend. Again, yellow candle, start of a downtrend. Yellow candle, start of a downtrend. And we haven't actually printed that second yellow yet. So that'll be interesting to see if we do print that second yellow candle. We've still got 21 days before this monthly candle closes. But if this closes on a yellow, it's going to look so similar to last cycle. So it'll be interesting to see how that closes. So yeah, are we going to push up and tap this resistance, right? So I feel like it's a little bit of higher. People are saying it's around 108, 110. I feel like we need to really push up to this 114k range for a top of the market. We'll see how it plays out, but that's kind of the level I'm looking at right now. I don't feel like we actually hit it here. I think he's got in 109,000. I don't have it at 109. Michael Burry shorted with 49% of his portfolio. He opened up a massive short on Nvidia, shorting 900,000 shares of Nvidia through put options. That's almost 50% of his entire portfolio being against one of the largest companies in the USA. It makes sense to short Nvidia because it's up 1,500% in a very short amount of time. If you look at Nvidia's run, look at this, absolutely crazy. We had the SMC bot on Nvidia has been pretty phenomenal, man. It's we had a buy signal down here. The SMC bot gave us a buy signal around $17. It gave a buy signal, and also it gave a sell signal at $23, and it came down 50%. Over 50% from that sell signal. I can't wait to start trading stocks with the SMC bot going into next cycle because it's been amazing. And you didn't really need to worry until you got a sell signal, right? So $16, and then you had the sell signal all the way up here at 124. So it was plain sailing all the way up, and then you had another buy signal back here, right? And the price continued to move to the upside. So it's been really, really good, this bot, and I can see why he's shorting, right? Things don't just go up in a straight line forever. Nvidia is a very, very strong stock. Absolutely, I'll agree. But if we look at the volume here, volume is starting to trickle down. Even in this move to the upside, volume is actually dropping. So you have some divergence there. The RSI on the weekly is completely overbought. Buy pressure is just dropping down. Even on this move to the upside, buy pressure is dropping down. You could argue that you are coming up to some sort of double top here, or you could argue that this was a top, so some sort of triple top. Obviously, we're going to have huge resistance here. Michael actually started shorting a little bit early, started shorting here. And some people, they like to front run trades because they can't see it coming up and retesting highs. But I actually am quite interested in retesting these, in shorting these highs, because I do think we are going to start to get bad data in July and August. And I think that people might look to take some profits, because don't forget, someone put $1 billion in down here. They made $14 billion, guys, right? They've made serious amounts of money in a very short amount of time. It doesn't take much to actually get these rollovers. And if you look at the price, it does actually feel like it's starting to roll over. There's absolutely nothing with a rollover and a cool down as we go into more bearish times, and then we look to push higher and make another move to the upside. So I am also interested in a short in Nvidia. The problem is Nvidia's earnings are very good. It's a company that no one really wants to sell because we know AI is not going anywhere. AI is going to be the talk of the town, even going into next cycle. A lot of companies are looking to invest in AI, Google, Amazon, Facebook, a lot of these companies are going heavily into AI. They're investing, they need chips, that's going to need processing power. There is some FUD around DeepSeek and what they're doing in China with regards to streamlining the processing power that these AI systems are going to require. So, it's not a squeaky clean play, Nvidia, right? There is some FUD out there, and, who knows what kind of systems or chips they're able to make that actually speed up the processes of these AI AI systems. So yeah, it's not personally, unless Nvidia crashes, I wouldn't buy it anyway. I mean, it's like a 3 trillion market cap or something, right? It's 3.5 trillion market cap. So you're going to need another 3.5 trillion to make a 2x from here. You know, I personally wouldn't buy it unless it had a 70% correction or an 80% correction. But whales love big caps like this, right? They really love big caps like this, and they're happy to put, there's loads of liquidity there. They can put loads of money into it and try and go for a 2x, right? Someone can try and turn their 500 billion into a trillion. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of looking at on the video. I can see why people are shorting it. It completely makes sense. I mean, at least you're not shorting it here and shorting it here, right? You're actually shorting it as it's starting to roll over and lose a bit of momentum. So that's Nvidia. Let's go and have a quick look at. So don't forget. Look, I know Michael Burry is short in Nvidia, guys, but don't forget that he has made a lot of big mistakes recently. He's made some pretty good calls, especially with the financial crisis, but he's made a lot of mistakes recently. And some traders do, right? Some traders go on bad runs. Some traders get bearish forever. Some traders get bullish forever. Me personally, if we're in a bear market, I try to get extremely bullish, and if we're in a bull run, I try to get extremely bearish, especially when the whole market has been rallying, 10, 15x. Like Nvidia is up at that 15x in a very short amount of time. Is insane for a low risk stock. Ethereum inflows. So ETH ETF inflows $25 million yesterday. BlackRock and Grayscale are buying Ethereum. I need to buy Ethereum as soon as possible. Why? Because Grayscale and BlackRock are buying $25 million worth, right? This creates FOMO. This creates a lot of, they're buying, there must be something coming with Ethereum. So I think it's important to actually understand what is $25 million to BlackRock. So BlackRock have assets under management around $11 trillion, maybe more now, maybe 12, 13 trillion dollars, not billion dollars, guys. $12 trillion assets under management. So basically, that's quite similar. So when you see they bought $25 million worth yesterday. This is roughly, okay, not precisely, but roughly the same as a millionaire spending £2.50 or $2.50 on ETH. Okay, so someone with $1 million buying $3 worth is the same as BlackRock buying $25 million worth. That's how much 10, 11, 12 trillion dollars is, right? It's really hard to fathom how much it is until you actually do the maths. Okay, so for me, for example, I spend 15 to 20 times more money on food than this purchase from BlackRock. Okay, so I spend 15 to 20 times more every single day on food than BlackRock's purchase of Ethereum. Okay, do you understand how much they're putting in, right? They're not trying to buy it up in any kind of rush. Otherwise, they would be spending more than, let's call it $3 a day. Or even like, there's been outflows at points as well, right? So sometimes they're selling $3, sometimes they're buying $5. It's a very, very small amount, but it looks amazing. I know how it looks on X. It gets us all gassed. It gets us all interested. We're all like frothing at the mouth. I don't want to miss out on this Ethereum play. I just want to stress how little it is. Now, look, if they're buying $500 million of Bitcoin, it's a lot larger amount, but 25 million, we're talking about basically them buying £2.50's worth if you're a millionaire. It's very small amounts. Michael Saylor hints to buying more Bitcoin. So again, Michael Saylor is famous for buying Bitcoin at the tops. So when Bitcoin is historically reaching all-time highs, Saylor gets more bullish, and it makes sense. He's a maxi. He's super maxi on Bitcoin. And some would say crazy, the amount of money that he has in Bitcoin. And when it goes up, he buys more, he gets more bullish, he buys. And it's also kind of smart play. It's a smart play to say to people, look, hey, I'm going to keep buying whatever the price. If it's 150K, if it's 250K, I'm going to keep buying. So should you, right? Because if he stops buying, people are going to be like, Saylor stopped buying. Why has he stopped buying? Does he know something? Is something wrong? Is he going to start selling? It might even create some panic. So he has really no option but to keep buying. But for some reason, it gets to the top and he keeps buying. And I think deep down, he wants to stop the volatility. And maybe he thinks that if he keeps buying, other people are going to keep buying. and we might sort of get a slowdown in volatility. We might not see these 70-80% corrections again. Who knows? We'll have to see, right? But that's what I would speculate, because he's pushing his liquidation level higher and higher. I think his liquidation level now is around 65k or 67k. I don't know if it's liquidation or his cost price is 67, 62k. So I don't know exactly where the liquidation price is. And unfortunately, in this money game, there's a lot of very not good people who would be quite happy to see Michael Saylor get liquidated. And if he does get liquidated, or he does have to sell his Bitcoin, those people, let's say maybe the banks or institutions, would get a fantastic opportunity to get Bitcoin at a discount, right? If Saylor had to sell some of his Bitcoin, there'd be a massive panic. Everyone would be rushing. There'd be a big black swan event, and everyone would start selling their Bitcoin, and maybe it would crash by 70-80%. And then the banks come in, bang, they start to accumulate all of this cheap Bitcoin. There'd be loads of fear on the news that, Saylor's going to have to sell even more Bitcoin, and now BlackRock's going to have to sell. There'll be loads of black swan news events going around, and it could be an opportunity of a lifetime for a lot of people, but there could be an incentive there for the wrong people who carry out bad behaviors to encourage that, or even maybe make it happen, right? So yeah, something to be cautious about. Also, I do ask myself the question, where would the price be if Michael Saylor wasn't just kept buying billions after like 80k? After it went past 80k, he just kept buying billions and billions, and BlackRock kept buying billions and billions, but the other ETFs have not been buying the same amounts that Michael Saylor and BlackRock have been buying, right? Most of the buys have been from BlackRock and Michael Saylor, and actually some of the other ETFs were selling. So we don't see this consistent organic buys across all of the ETFs, which is very strange. Usually you'll see some sort of patterns or organic buys and sells. They'll all buy at the same time. They'll all sell at the same time, because it's just fear and greed, right? But we don't see that. We do not see that for some reason. US housing market has reached its most unaffordable level in history. So again, as I was talking about, there's things under the system that are just not right and seem to be, cracking, right? Yields are all-time highs. We've now got housing at its most unaffordable level in history. People can't afford their bills. People can't afford to pay the mortgage back. People can't afford the interest rates. People are experiencing serious inflation, even though we're getting these CPI. A lot of the data is lagging as well, guys. Don't forget, we're getting a lot of lagged data from previous months. And I think we are seeing some of the data on the charts that's going to come. I think we're seeing approaching data coming. Key events this week. So we've got the Atlanta Fed GDP Now data today. We've got CPI inflation data on Wednesday. That's going to be a very important one to watch. 10-year note auction Wednesday. PPI inflation, that's going to be a very important one as well. That's going to be on Thursday. CPI is more important than PPI, but PPI is going to give us an indication into the real manufacturer inflation, because if it costs the producers more to produce, they're going to pass that on to retail eventually, right? They're not going to go, oh yeah, sure, we'll, they're operating on such small margins. Some of them are operating on 5-10% margins as it is. They're not going to go, oh yeah, don't worry, you put the price up. We'll just drop our profits down to 1% or 2%. They're going to pass it on to the customer. Michigan inflation expectations data on Friday. Again, consumer sentiment is on Friday. So a lot of data coming this week, guys. Kathy Wood says Bitcoin is likely to go to 10 million in the next 10 years. This is another thing that you start to see towards the end of the market. Like, projections get so crazy. And again, it's another good tactic, because people start thinking, oh, it's going to 10 million in 10 years anyway. I'm just going to hold. Like, I can't believe I'm trying to sell at 98k and buy back at 50k. It seems crazy. People sort of forget that the market crashes by 60, 70, 80% each year, right? So these are really good marketing tactics. And hey, Bitcoin may go to 10 million one day. I would argue that it would never go to 10 million in the next 10 years personally. Why? Because the market cap of gold right now is 23 trillion. The market cap of Bitcoin is around 2 trillion or something. So for Bitcoin is already 10x under gold. I mean, gold would have to 10x to reach that kind of market cap, and we would have to 100x, right? So we would have to 100x in 10 years. And gold, where would gold be, right? So I guess they're suggesting that everyone is going to sell all their gold and buy Bitcoin. But what happened to gold when Larry Fink said sell gold? Larry Fink's BlackRock said sell gold, buy Bitcoin. It's the future. What happened to gold? It doubled in price. It literally doubled in price. So I don't know if there was some deeper plans here to accumulate gold, because it's very suspicious that the biggest institution in the world advised their clients to sell gold and buy Bitcoin. Some gold, not all of it, right? Sell just 1%, put it into Bitcoin. And yet gold literally doubled in price at that exact time. Something very suspicious there. So I don't believe it's going to 1 million. I do think Bitcoin can 10x in the next 5 to 6 years. I do think it can 10x in the next 5 to 6 years, because the 10x's have been so fast, and now we have ETFs and institutions and everybody's able to buy, right? It's 10x off retail. Now we've got serious money coming in. I do think it's going to go to $1 million very, very fast. And, you know, that's why I do plan to accumulate a lot of Bitcoin in this coming bear market and hold it until, you know, maybe over $1 million, right? Because if it goes to 1 million, it's going to be a big psychological number, but if it goes to 1 million, the market cap's going to be so big, guys. You know, it's strange to say this, but people will have more faith in it the more expensive it becomes. You know, if it goes to 1 million and it goes to 1.5 million, you're going to get some serious wealth coming into it, because the market cap is so big. There is more liquidity there. Just like gold, for example. Gold has shot up massively recently. It creates more faith in gold. There's more liquidity, right? It becomes more liquid. There's more interest. And the same will happen with Bitcoin. The bigger it gets, the more institutional money that will come in, the more pension funds that will come in, and hopefully countries, right? Those are the last people we want to really come in and pump our bags. So yeah, even though I am a swing trader, and you might think I sound quite bearish, and I am bearish in a bull run. You'll always see me getting slightly bearish when everyone is frothing at the mouth and everyone is talking about Bitcoin's going to 200k. You will always see me get bearish, and you will always see me get extremely bullish when everyone is bearish in the bear market. When everything's down 60%, no one wants to buy. What happened? We were buying altcoins. Render 2,500% up. It went, you know, Casper 3,000% up. Sorry, no, Casper went 3,000% up. So, you know, I might be bearish right now, but I 100% am going to be extremely bullish if we see pullbacks and crashes in the market. Foreign investors withdrew a net $37 billion out of US equities in May. Okay, so last month. The most in at least 12 months, according to Goldman Sachs. This marks the second consecutive monthly net withdrawal after $7 billion in April. Year to date, foreign investors have withdrawn a net $31 billion from US equities. By comparison, these same investors bought a net $201 billion in November and December last year. This comes as the market recovers in the 90-day reciprocal tariff pause that began on April the 10th. So there's been a lot of worry about the US dollar. There's been a lot of worry about equities. And we know gold has been rocketing as well. And a lot of people seem to be selling a lot of US stocks and getting quite a bit worried about tariffs. We're seeing, obviously, when you start to roll out tariff wars as well, other countries and might start to sell stocks. If you're going to start whacking 50-60% tariffs on so and so, you know, they might just like be out, hey guys, we're going to actually sell some of our stocks and de-risk from this America situation, right? So the good thing about this is if they sell, it means they've got cash to come back in, right? So that's a very good thing. If they sell and it gets more aggressive, it's actually good long term, because there's going to be lots of cash there could potentially come in. Short term, it does mean they're worried about these stocks, and a lot of them are up, right? Nvidia's up 1,500%. Netflix is at nearly all-time highs. Meta's nearly at all-time highs. Most of the stocks have had a ferocious run. So yes, again, it is actually good to take some profits off the table if you're up 5, 10, 15, 20x. Wait for some sort of cool down or correction, especially when you've got a lot of uncertainty in the macro. So I posted Bitcoin is currently at this was an old post I made. Bitcoin is currently at 64k. Okay, this was back in August 24. Within 10 years, it will be $1 million per coin. I think it might even be 5 or 6 years now. Okay, so but I'm saying 10 years as a conservative target. That means it costs 64k to become a millionaire. Let's come back to this post in 10 years. So guys, I know I am bearish right now. A lot of people are going to say I'm always bearish. I am long-term bullish on Bitcoin and crypto, and I am short-term bearish as a trader, right? So like I said earlier, bearish in a bull run and bullish in a bear market. Bitcoin adoption outpaces internet adoption. Post here from Quinton. I love charts and I love data, and this is one of my favorite charts, guys. Look at the Bitcoin adoption versus the internet, right? And the internet was one of the greatest inventions of our generation, and it was so scalable, so fast. The organic growth was phenomenal because so many people, hey, I've got this on the internet. Have you been on the internet? Da, 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 da. Bitcoin is growing faster than the internet, and you know it's using the internet to grow, and it's a new financial currency that's never been hacked, that's liquid, that you can transport anywhere. You know, it's like Barack Obama said, it's like having a Swiss bank in your pocket. You don't need a bank anymore, and it's really going viral, right? It's really going viral, and still only a small percentage of people know about Bitcoin. It's getting bigger. I think when we started, it was like 1% or something, or 2%. The percentage is getting a lot higher, but it's nowhere near stocks right now. Okay, it's nowhere near stocks, and I think at some point or another, it's probably going to overtake stocks. So we are still early to this, okay, but it is starting to become very, very popular and starting to pick up organic growth. This chart I don't like. This is the rainbow chart, and a lot of people keep saying we're going up into the yellow orange. What they're not looking at is look at the previous cycle. So look where it topped out. It was actually up here off the chart, right? Then the following cycle, it was pretty much 2 regression bands down in the red. So 2 regression bands down. Then in the next cycle, it went just into the orange. Okay, so two regression bands down, 1, 2, 1, 2, from the top of the previous cycle. So, am I the only one that sees a pattern here? If we go 2 regression bands down, it depends where you draw it from. I mean, look, this was the top of the red, and then you could say top of the yellow. So the top of the green, technically, you could argue for bull case, and bear case, this green level here, right? This green level here, bear case. And this needs to be updated because we're actually well up here. So as far as I can see, there is a pattern here where each cycle we're 2 regression bands down on this chart, and it makes sense because the market cap's getting bigger. It takes a lot more money to move. It makes sense to actually have a push here, but it doesn't look like there's much gas in the tank, and that's if we repeat the previous 2 regression bands down, right? 2 regression bands down. I don't like this chart, and it's designed to create FOMO. Not for me personally. Where was the time to buy? Down here in the purple. Where was the time to buy? Down here in the purple. Okay. Where was the time to take profits? In the pump. This is truly a historic moment for the US economy. So I post here from Brovas Research. At this rate, it's expected to reach 1.7 trillion by 2034. The target is now crossed 1.1 trillion. So this is the interest that the government are paying. Like, look at the escalation here in the interest. It's absolutely phenomenal. And, they expect the interest alone to be 1.7 trillion by 2034, which is just money lost, right? An insane amount of money lost. And it's a major issue. Right? It's a major issue. This is why we can see a lot of people are selling. A lot of people are short in the market. A lot of people are selling. There's a lot of red flags that everyone is you've seen that film, Don't Look Up. It kind of feels like everyone's saying, don't worry, everything's going to be fine. It's always fine. But there's a lot of stuff going on under the woodwork. China, consumer prices slumped again, deepening deflation worries as demand stays weak. So we know China are actually speaking to the USA today in London. So are we going to see some fast news off the back of this? I don't know, especially after what happened last time with Trump. Trump sort of came out and said we've created a deal, and then China said there's no real deal, and then America said China have not agreed to the deal that we made, and it was a mess, right? So are we going to see anything announced? I don't know. I think it's highly unlikely. I do think China want to get something going as soon as possible, and I know the USA probably want to get something going as soon as possible. I just think there's so many ins and outs, and both parties don't want to come across as creating a weaker deal for themselves. So they're both salespeople. They're both trying to get the best deal, and they're going backwards and forwards. And even with the UK, America and the UK are very good allies. Even with the UK, it took quite a while of backwards and forwards to actually get a deal done. And there was already a trade deal there, right? They were just trying to improve it. So yeah, I don't know. With China, it might take a while. We might see pauses. So we might see, hey, we've decided to drop a pause for now whilst we carry on negotiating. I'd be very surprised to see a finished trade deal arranged anytime soon. 52% of Americans can't cover a $2K emergency, which is crazy considering how high stocks are up, right? We know that a lot of Americans actually have a lot of money in stocks, a lot of retail, and apparently they don't have money, much spare cash in case of emergency. So, if S hits the fan, are we going to see a lot of retail selling pressure? Probably, right? Probably. Are you, if you're up 15x or 10x on the video, are you going to sit and hold it if it starts to crash, or are you going to start to take profits off the table? 37% say inflation is their number one challenge versus 8% in 2016. Okay, so massive increase there. And do you see what we're seeing here? We're seeing the people experience inflation issues, but the data lagging, right? And I think over the next few months, maybe 3-4 months, we might see some of that data start to hit us, which is the reality that a lot of people are seeing, and we can see it in housing prices and in the bonds and the rest of the data. Bond yields rising, as I talked about. Mortgage rates pushing 7 to 8%. Absolutely insane. Serious credit card delinquencies, unpaid balance, these are unpaid balances for at least 90 days, rose to 12.31%, the highest in 14 years. So people are clearly having struggles at the moment. We know that people don't have a lot of cash. They're using credit cards. The cost of living is getting higher. They don't have the money to pay for these bills, to pay for the cost of living, and they're having to use their credit cards. And now people are starting to miss their credit card payments, and those companies are going to start going into debt, right? The credit card companies are going to start going into debt, and they need people to pay those loans back, right? So are we going to see a cascading effect from this, or is it going to continue, right? Is it going to continue? So crazy stuff happened with Elon over the weekend. So now it's come out that Besson and Musk got excited in the Oval Office and began walking down the hallway. The two men started to exchange insults. Bannon said, adding that Besson brought up Musk's claims that he would uncover more than $1 trillion in wasteful and fraudulent government spending, which Musk had not succeeded at doing. Scott said, "You're a fraud." So he called Elon a fraud. He said, "You're a total fraud," Bannon said in the interview. And Musk then rammed his shoulder into Scott, which you can picture Elon doing, right? And Bannon said, and then Besson hit him back multiple times. And then we saw Elon on the press conference with a black eye, which he said his son had done. And now we find out later that Scott actually beat him up, which is crazy, right? I can't imagine Scott and Elon fighting. And, fair play to Scott. He's got some swings. He's got the swings on him. So, yeah, I mean, what's going on here, guys? Like, Elon came out and said that Trump is on the Epstein file list, and that's why it's not being released. And now, obviously, there's going to be a lot of attention on that. People are going to be demanding for this list. Elon literally just came out of the White House as best friends with Trump, like rolling around, like his son was playing with Trump in the White House and rolling around with him. He got him a Tesla car, and then like a day or 2 days later, he's saying that he's on the Epstein list, and he's saying that he should be impeached. He's saying that, he should be impeached just a couple of days later. So I don't know what's going on. A lot of people are saying that Elon is going to run for president now. Here's the post that Elon posted about Donald Trump being on the Epstein files. And are we going to see anything about the Epstein files? Is this why they've not been released? Elon, there's a rumor Elon will run for president in the 2028 elections. It's just crazy right now. It's really, really crazy. And Tesla, surprisingly, hasn't even sold off that much, right? If you're going to challenge Trump, if you're going to challenge not just Trump, you're going to challenge the United States government, they're not going to make it easy for you to run your businesses. They're not going to make it easy for you with regards to laws. They might even push diesel, petrol, fuel cars and, make it difficult for electric cars. Who knows what they're capable of doing? And, I'm very surprised to see Tesla so stable, even with Elon so unstable. But it is what it is, right? It seems like no matter what bad news we get, we're not seeing a lot of fear in a lot of these charts. And I don't know whether the prices are being held up because we know institutions are shorting. We know hedge funds are shorting. We know that a lot of the foreign funds are withdrawing money from the markets, but we don't seem to see that in the price. So it's very difficult. It is quite bullish when all of the fear hits and no one sells. It is extremely bullish most of the time, because it's like, hey, if Elon taking on the United States government and calling Trump an Epstein associate doesn't affect the price, what will? Right? It can be quite bullish. Sometimes what happens is these things kick in a few weeks or days down the line. Okay, so everything looks fine price-wise, and the price might even start to climb up, and then it takes a sudden dump, right? And I don't know whether there's market makers or whether there's some sort of strategic plans to try and make price look good, but sometimes that happens, and are we yet to see that? We'll have to see. President Trump says Elon Musk will face very serious consequences if he funds the Democrats. So I know Trump definitely wants to win the next term, and Elon, I think, hopefully is smarter than to go up against Trump this term, considering they were working together. Elon has said Trump is the only reason that he won, and I think Elon enjoyed being in the White House. He had a good time there, and I think he probably got used to being there and would probably love to be in the White House making some sort of important decisions. And I would be very surprised now if he doesn't run after Trump. I think it'd be crazy to go up against Trump this term. But yeah, it's definitely on the cards for him running next time. And I think he'll get a lot of support, right? He literally owns Twitter. It's going to be very easy for him to rack up a lot of support and a lot of votes. Okay, so we've talked about Nvidia. I think we're pretty much there, guys. The smart money stablecoins. So this is the stablecoin balances of all the smartest people the smartest traders and investors in crypto. A lot of funds, a lot of whales, a lot of people who have been in the game a long time. And this is not Bitcoin, so this is altcoins and Ethereum. And when we go into a bull run, they take profits, and when we go into a bear market, they start to buy back into the market. And we bottomed out here, and this was kind of the first local top when they run out of stable coins. What happens when the smart money run out of stable coins? We tend to hit some sort of a bottom because they've got no money left, right? So they're going to obviously start to take profits. Again, they took some profits off the table. We had a dump, and then we went back, and they ran out of stable coins again. The market rallied. I think this is where we took profits again. We took profits here, and then we took profits here, right? Every time we've come down here, we've started to take some profits off the table, and it's been a very good decision because the market has shortly dumped afterwards. And we are climbing back down to these levels. We're not quite at these levels, but the smart money had definitely deployed quite a lot of stable coins since April. They deployed quite a lot of stable coins back into the market, and we're definitely in a downtrend for now. And the question is, when are they going to start to sell, and when are they going to start to take profits? I would argue that we are definitely in the start of an uptrend because we broke through this previous resistance here. So it does seem like we are around this area here, right? You see where it was chopping down, it chopped up, it chopped back down, it chopped up, it chopped down. So this is the smart money. They're swing traders, right? They don't just hodl. They don't just buy and hodl. They take profits in the pumps and they buy the dumps. They're very, very good swing traders. And when the price is crashed down 80-90%, they were buying the dip, and when it starts to pump back up 200-300%, they'll take profits. They're not trying to make a 50x. If they're up 200-300%, they'll take profits off, and they do it all the way into the bear market, right? They buy back in, they sell, they buy back in, they sell. They're swing trading all the way down, because even as you go into a bear market, things will pump and dump aggressively. It gets much harder to do. But they will swing trade. But overall, the trend is our friend, and the trend actually was to the upside, right? So I'm going to be very interested to see, and I don't think this bull run is completely over until we get up here. I just don't want to wait until we get up here, because when we get up here, most of the market is going to be down, and it's actually when we get up here that I actually look to start buying again, when the smart money are heavy in stable coins, because we know, like last cycle or this cycle, how much money flooded into this market, hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars from this point here flooding back into altcoins. And I want to be positioned here when all of the money has to come back in, right? Where are we right now? We're not up here where all of the money is going to come back in. We're actually down here where all of the money is going to come out of the market. So we're still yet to see that period of time when the most of the money in altcoins is completely sold, right? We're still almost at the lows of profit taking. So much profit taking to come. What happens in profit taking? Altcoins get diminished. Altcoins go to the ground. One of my favorite charts. So this is the net unrealized profit and loss, and this is Bitcoin. And I love this because it just makes it simple, right? Red, orange, best time to buy. Green, blue, best time to sell. Notice how we had blue here, blue here, blue here, but it was getting less and less each time. And then eventually it didn't appear here. Actually, yeah, just about appeared here. Didn't appear here. So we've clearly got this trend where we're going down and down. And eventually, I guess, yellow will be the top, right? So we are now back in the green, and we did actually go quite heavy green, as we know the trend is getting less and less each time. And we are in that green zone, which is historically the worst time to buy. Okay, so red, again, look down here, bottom of the market, best time to buy. Green, best time to sell. Orange, red, best time to buy. Red, best time to buy. Green, best time to sell. So I think we've done well to take profits in the green this cycle and to buy in the red, right? We're buying down here and we're selling up here. I plan to do exactly the same thing. I'm not going to let this market manipulate me and shake me out. And, all the posts on socials, we're going to 250K, we're going to 300K. Okay, sure. That means for the first time in history, we're going to stay in green forever. Well, at least for the next 2 or 3 years or whatever you think is going to happen. But yeah, it's going to be the first time in history, and I don't really want to bet against. I don't want to say this time's different, right? I don't want to see this time's different. I had a strategy to buy in the bear market and to sell in the bull run. That's what I've done, and now I'm going to wait for the red, because the worst thing about crypto is if you have 10K right now, it could come down to $500 in the red. If we go from green to red and you have 10K, your 10K bag's probably going to go down to, like, if you're in altcoins, your 10K bag's probably going to go down to $500 or $1,000. If you have a really degen meme coin portfolio, you might even go $10,000 down to $200, right? I've seen it happen. You could even go up to $100, which is disgusting. If you have a 100K portfolio, you could go down to 10K or 5K or 4K, depending on what kind of portfolio you have. If you have $1 million portfolio, you could go down to 100K, 50K, right? It's serious money when you go from green to red. We've seen it happen time and time again. Green to red, people got decimated. Green to red, people got decimated. Green to red, people got decimated. Where are we now? We're in the green and we're waiting for the red. I'm simply waiting for the red to deploy the rest of my capital, my cash that I've taken from this bull run. I buy in the bears and I sell in the bull. Great indicator has pretty much, if you just bought red and sold green and didn't actually go on social media and didn't do any analysis, you would probably be up massively, right? Just following this chart. And I don't want to fade this. I know institutions and smart money look at this, and when we do go into a bear market, this is the levels that people are going to be looking at to accumulate and to start buying. Love the chart. Let's keep an eye on this chart as we go into a correction or a bear market eventually. The ETFs is very interesting because if we look at Wisdom Tree, we can actually see Wisdom Tree have not been accumulating much BTC at all in this pump. Franklin Templeton have actually been selling in this pump. Okay, so Franklin Templeton ETF has not been accumulating. Invesco ETF has also not been accumulating. They actually sold around, started to sell heavily around 100k, and are sort of now waiting as the price continues to move to the upside. Valkyrie have not started accumulating. They are still holding. VanEck have been accumulating, and we know VanEck are maxis on Bitcoin, so, you know, not surprising. VanEck are probably also following along with BlackRock. Grayscale Mini accumulating, so not huge amounts. This is Grayscale Mini, so it's small amounts. Bitwise sideways, so again, Bitwise don't seem to be accumulating, but not much heavy selling. You could say a little bit of selling in this push, recent push to the upside, but they don't seem to be confident on bidding above 100k for BTC. ARK Invest pretty much sideways with some spikes up and down. Fidelity pretty much sideways. They did sell when the price went down, but they didn't buy when the price bottomed out, right? They didn't buy even when it dropped like 25% discount. Grayscale still selling, or people are moving out of Grayscale. It's starting to slope round though. It's starting to slow down. BlackRock leading the way, right? BlackRock are buying more all of a sudden. Notice how BlackRock buys actually slowed down here, and BlackRock actually started to increase their buys very aggressively, even at 105k. BlackRock buying very aggressively, but it slowed down here and started to go sideways a bit, and then massively went up. So it seems like BlackRock is one of the few ETFs, along with VanEck, that have been accumulating aggressively. So we don't see consistency, which I really want to see from the ETFs across the board. But we do see BlackRock just happy to buy. And again, we know how many assets they have under management, right? 11 trillion. So even if they buy $400 million worth, it's kind of similar to a millionaire buying $400 worth. So don't forget that, guys, right? They could go and buy $4 billion worth a day if they wanted to. It's very similar to a millionaire spending $400 a day on Bitcoin. Is for them 400 million. So don't forget the perspective, right? They don't care if they lose $400. A millionaire, if he lost $400 in a wallet, a crypto wallet, he probably wouldn't even know. He probably wouldn't even know about it. Like, that's how insignificant the amounts are to them. But it does scale over time, right? It does add up over time. If you're doing $400, and you're a millionaire, before you know it, you're going to have 10K, 20K of your $1 million inside Bitcoin, which again isn't a huge amount for a millionaire, right? So it's all about perspective for these amounts. But the key is they are still accumulating, right? They are still buying. And the market cap is only around 2 trillion and gold is 23 trillion. So yeah, this is also what I'm interested in. So, you know, I said I'm interested in buying in the red. This is going to be one of my other favorite indicators of when to buy. Every time we come down, this is the days destroyed. Every time we come down to this orange line, it marked the bottom or close to the bottom, orange line, bottom, close to the bottom, orange line, bottom, close to the bottom. We are so far away from this orange line right now. One thing I will say is that it is creeping up. So the longer BTC stays up here, the higher the floor is going to be. So if you are a bear, or you're a bank, or you're an institution, and you actually want cheap Bitcoin, you're really going to want to see a crash soon, right? You're really going to want to see a pullback or a dump very fast, because if we do push up here for another 6 months or a year, and BlackRock keep buying, Saylor keeps buying, they keep getting institutions to buy, the new floor price is going to get higher and higher and higher. And when it gets close to this orange line, I think a lot of people are going to get wrecked, because if this pushes higher and higher and Bitcoin keeps going, let's say it goes to 200, 250, and it keeps going higher and it stays up above 100k month after month after month, and this orange line keeps creeping up, a lot of us are actually just going to buy whenever we get close to this orange line, even if it's at 80k or 70k or 60k. And a lot of people are going to be waiting for a 70%, 80% correction in Bitcoin, and they might not see it, right? So if they aren't looking on chain at the data that we're looking at, because these tools aren't very cheap, right? These tools are quite expensive. Like Pro Nansen costs $1,000 a month. I don't know how much this is. It's hundreds a month. I'm pretty sure it's hundreds a month. Sorry, no, it's not quite hundreds a month. I think it's like 800 a year or something like that. So, I'm spending multiple thousands on a lot of these indicators, which I know a lot of people don't have the money to buy. But I feel like a lot of people are going to get wrecked in the next cycle, because they're going to either wait too long to buy Bitcoin. They're going to wait for a 78% correction, which is probably never going to come. And the new floor is going to be so high that they're not going to be able to fathom buying so high. Because a lot of us got down here, right? A lot of us were buying Bitcoin at 20K, some buying it at 16K, 17K. It's going to be very hard for them. A lot of retail took profit at 60, 70K, don't forget, guys. So a lot of people actually sold at all-time highs, just above all-time highs. A lot of people had PTSD. They didn't think we were going to 100K. So a lot of retail sold here. And it's going to be very, very hard for them to buy at a higher price than they sold. And that might actually be the case going into next cycle, which just means that more and more retail will get left out of the game, or they'll have to buy in later. So yeah, it's going to be a very, very hard cycle to time the bottom. And I think a lot of people are going to get it wrong. People, just like as the market pushes up, pigs get slaughtered, everyone holds for too long. They don't take profits, things come down, they crash 80, 90%, they get wrecked. And it's the same on the way down in the bear market. If you're not looking at the data, if you're not looking at the institutions, the funds, and we can see all the smart money buying as well, right? We can see when all of the funds start to buy on chain because we're tracking their wallets. So really, the insiders and the whales and the funds, they can't buy without us buying, right? Because if they start to deploy hundreds of millions, I'm going to get notified inside my Discord, and then I can buy with them, right? I can buy with the smart money. If I just like the start of the gaming narrative, we saw all of the funds start to buy crypto gaming projects. 2 days later, everything was up. Like, it was insane. Like, everything was up 100%, 200%, 300%. There was massive narratives. Like, all of the biggest KOLs in the space were talking about crypto gaming. They move first. The smart money move first, especially with narratives. And when it comes to buying the dip, we're going to see that first. And Nansen is actually integrating Bitcoin as well. So next cycle, we're going to have on-chain Bitcoin alpha, which is going to be the start of, I don't know, guys. I've wanted that access for so long. Like, imagine tracking the insiders and smart money on Bitcoin. You're going to be able to catch the reversals, like the pivot points, everything, from all of the wallets who think they've been untraceable or not been tracked. Right? We're going to be able to track them and leverage that data. If you want to join the Discord, or if you want to get these buy and sell alerts, you see how here we have these buy and sell alerts on stocks and cryptos. It works on anything, really. It works on currencies. It works on stocks. You can see here we had a sell on the DXY. Lovely. Look at this buy signal on the DXY. Rocket, moonship, sell, crash to the downside, right? So if you took a long on the DXY here, you absolutely printed. If you took a short here on the DXY, you absolutely printed. It works on cryptos. It works on stocks. It works on pretty much everything, guys. So yeah, if you want that, you can sign up to the Discord, and it comes free with the Patreon. And you can get it in your trading view. You don't need a paid trading view. It also works on cryptos here. You just type in the crypto you want to look at, and it gives you buy and sell alerts. You just change the time frame you want to look at. This is the daily on SUI, and then it snaps to grid. So yeah, if you want that, join the Patreon. Here is my Patreon. You can see my X account here. And you can see the link there to join and get involved with us. That's pretty much it, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date with the latest. Inside the Discord, this is the gain section where you can see all the guys that are trading, posting their gains. Some of the guys have been absolutely killing it. We've got a professional leverage trader in here. We're tracking so many. We're tracking James Winlet. We're tracking all these transactions. We've got professional leverage trader in here. Where is it? Pro leverage trades. and they give trade alerts. They give their longs, so I pay them. Always pay people who are better than you at day trading. I'm more of a swing trader and a long-term trader, and I'm getting into stocks now as well. So we're going to start building the stocks portfolio. But I'm not really a day trader, and he's a really good day trader, and he posts his gains. He posts the trades that he's taken and setups in here. So if you want to see those, jump in there. What else have we got in here? My portfolio. Obviously, I'm pretty much sold a lot of my portfolio. It was really detailed in the bear market, as that's really when I start to build my portfolios in the bear market, and I start to DCA and build positions. And I normally have like around 20 to 30 different assets that I buy, like diverse across institutional and layer ones and AI. So yeah, I'm going to really build my portfolio in the bear market. A lot of things are going to change between now and the bear market, so there's no point me doing 500 hours of research, reading white papers over and over again that might be different in 6 months or 7 months time, right? And maybe the competition come out and there's faster chains that do better things than something I was interested in. So it doesn't make sense to me to do that now, right? The time to do that is in the bear market, just like we did with Casper. Buy alerts is where I do my buy and sell alerts. Token reports, this is where we do advanced reports on the tokens that we're investing in. So tokenomics, the team, the founders, the roadmap, the pros and cons. We're not just bullish on these things, right? We're looking at the bullish and the bearish. What are the risks? It helps me decide how much I should put into the token. If there's a possibility that it could get hacked, or it's a new chain and we can't see, it's not transparent, maybe we can't go and audit the tokens. Maybe it's mutable. There's loads of different things that we do in these reports to make sure that we are covering our basis, because anyone can build a website, right? I could get my little 10-year-old sister to build a website with AI, and she could make a roadmap probably better than a lot of the crypto projects out there. So you can't invest in something anymore because a website looks good, or because the white paper looked good. Anyone can make a white paper in ChatGPT. Anyone could make a website, right? And if there's no team as well, I see so many people say, I'm going in heavy into this, and there's not even a team listed, right? It's easier than ever for these scammers to take money out of this market, because there's no team. The website looks average, and people are just happy to chuck their money in, right? So we do really deep dives into these projects to make sure that we're not getting wrecked. And if you look at my portfolio, most of it was free money, right? What does that mean? It means I had like 20 investments, and most of it was completely free money, which means that I've already taken my initial out, and anything that I made on top of that was profits, right? All profits. I think there might have been one or two that didn't go into profits, or didn't go into that many profits, but the majority done huge returns. Even like Pepe done like a 10x. There was many 10x's. Stocks, we were looking at stocks last cycle, so we were looking at stocks, and I kind of said, like, I was interested in Nvidia. Palantir I mentioned at like $12 or $14, but I had previously said I made a lot of money trading crypto, and crypto I'm trying to make a 20, 30, 40, 50x. You can't make those returns in stocks. Things are changing now because of what happened this cycle. Things are changing, and we take a lot more risk, and we might be taking a lot of risk next cycle for 10, 15, 20x. And a lot of low risk stocks are doing 10, 15, 20x. And I mean low risk, right? Even Nvidia done a 15x, and it was one of the lowest risk plays. And I don't think many people saw it happening. So what that means is that these explosive gains are going to happen again, right? Nvidia doesn't just do a 15x and no other company comes along and does a 15x. It's going to become more explosive. More investors are going to come in. There might even be a lot of people saying what I'm saying right now, and hey, I'm actually going to start to put more money from crypto into stocks this cycle, and we might have an explosive stock cycle in the next rally. Especially we've got Trump in, which you could say is good for markets. It's not been a great start, but yeah, in the long run it should be good for markets. So yeah, I'm really interested in doing stocks as well as crypto. I'm not giving up on crypto. I'm still a crypto maxi. I still think Bitcoin's going to 1 million. I still think the Web3 infrastructure is going to be huge, and I think we're going to see payment integrations and lots of integrations into Web3. But I'm just diversifying into stocks this cycle, because the returns are great and the risks are much lower, or appear to be much lower now. Again, none of the information in this video, guys, is financial advice. So do your own research. Investing in crypto is highly risky. You can lose all of your money investing in crypto or investing in anything. So you should always do your own research before trading or investing. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, we got loads of wallets that we're tracking and loads of research that we're doing on stuff. We're tracking KOLs, we're tracking meme coin KOLs, smart money, what the smart money are buying and selling. We see it in real time as well, so we can see smart money received 7.23 million USDC. Are they taking profits? Why are they selling? Are they trying to buy something? And then we'll go in and see what they're doing. Smart money sent SPX 7x the recent average. So are they planning to sell SPX? Did they send it to a crypto exchange? So really, really cool data that we're getting on chain. And by the time we go into next cycle, I want this on chain side to be a powerhouse, and I want to have as much sort of tracking as possible. And see here how we're like tracking some of our investments. Like we can see in real time when the whales are selling Fartcoin and when DEX outflows and DEX inflows come in. I want to have our whole portfolio here. So I want to have our whole portfolio tracked so that every time the top 20 holders sell, it will say, you know, so-and-so from the top 20 holders of, I don't know, Sui or Solana just sent $10 million to Bybit and $5 million to MEXC, right? I want to be on top of my portfolio so that if anything does happen or some bad news breaks out, we're going to see the insiders starting to sell first. And it helps us with trading positions, right? If we see the top 20 holders starting to move an asset to an exchange, hey, maybe something's about to be dropped, maybe there's some bad news, maybe something happened, and then it helps us maybe look for potential short opportunities or long opportunities if they're buying and accumulating. So yeah, I want to have my whole portfolio or most of it tracked, which I think would be really cool. So we can really keep an eye on our portfolios and, you know, try and do what we've done this cycle, right? We really nailed a lot of these sells. You know, we took profits on Solana. Our first sell was like 190, and then our second sell was $250. I think they were good sells. Same with Casper. Same with Render. I think we sold Render at like $12. Last time I checked, it was like 50 cents or 60 cents or something. So really good sells, and this data is just going to help us with trying to nail those. We haven't been perfect. We've definitely made mistakes. We've definitely got things wrong. We're not going to get things right all the time, but we've leveled up so much compared to last cycle, and we're only going to get better. If we had a good cycle this cycle, imagine after all the lessons we've learned this cycle and still got so many things right, imagine what's going to happen next cycle with more data, more on-chain information. I only see it getting better and better. But hey, anything's possible, right? We're in investing, we're in crypto, anything is possible. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you like these macro updates, they are a bit long, but if you like these macro updates and you want me to do more of them, like the video, press the bell notification button so you don't miss out on any of these videos, and subscribe. And yeah, maybe I'll do these more often. I'd like to do them weekly because we get so much news coming in at the moment. I could do them weekly. I really could do them weekly. But yeah, that's it for now. Big ups for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video.